How do you do?
It was the night before Christmas, and all through the castle, all the creatures were stirring. It was quite a hustle. Vampira was doing a twist with a bat, as Igor rocked with a big black cat. Frankenstein and the Wolfman in the back of the room planned to replace Rudolph with a witch on a broom, while Drac overheard Wolfman making it clear Santa's flight just would not make it this year.
Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to the Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. I'm Bill Evenson.
And I'm Tom Lang, and a Merry Christmas to you all. And well, we're going to discuss minute 51 of 1935's Bride of Frankenstein.
Is this our Christmas Day?
This is our Christmas Day episode.
Merry Christmas, Tom.
Well, Merry Christmas to you,
Yep.
too, Bill.
I'm going to mark it down that next week is New Year's.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that, McDougal's House of Horrors. I didn't see that.
Yep. Yeah, for my last visit to La Mirada, Florida, I picked it up.
We're going to have to record. I am recording the video. I guess I could.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, yeah, here we are. Christmas morning. What better present than minute 51 of Bride of Frankenstein, where the monster finishes guzzling a glass of wine, and he doesn't spill any this time. I think it's the first time we see him consume anything without making a mess.
I suppose that's true. Yeah. Although he looks at the chicken in his hand looks like a bit of a mess.
The wine doesn't splatter all down his chin.
Right. Yeah.
So fascinating stuff. I finished chewing the chicken, and he as he's finishing chewing on the chicken, he glances at Madalena Ernestine's skull perched atop her bones in the tidy little bundle, and asks Pretorius, "You make man like me?"
Yeah. Why does he do that?
Why does he do that?
Why does he think that Pretorius is going to make a man like him? Or does he just ask everybody that? Did he ask the hermit that?
He asked the hermit. He asked those
little girl.
little kids coming home from school.
Yeah. He asked Maria.
That's why he killed the one girl, Frida.
Yep.
Because she didn't have an answer for him. The Newmans didn't either, so it was a bloodbath.
Frau Newman.
Frau Newman didn't have an answer. I'm going to beat you to the punch, and Dreadstone has the question as, "You like Frankenstein? You make man?"
Wow.
So I think that makes it a little
notes,
clearer,
so
actually. Didn't
No.
you? Oh, okay. I actually think that makes it a little clearer.
Yeah, I agree.
When he phrases it that way. Kudos to Ramsey Campbell for that one.
And because the only thing I could think was that he did see a guy who seems to love hanging out in a crypt. So that would be the only reason he would ask that.
Well, and he overheard any conversation they would have had. So he would have absorbed that as well.
That. Yeah.
And it's, a skeleton sitting there. How much he remembers from his past life, we really don't know. But he knows what this skull is anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't ask about it. He asks about, what are you doing with this stuff?
Yeah. What's your plan for this
raw
material? Are you going to make something out of this?
Are you going to use it?
Are you using this? Also, he calls himself a man.
Yeah, man like me.
Yeah, which is,
that's interesting. I hadn't noticed that, but yeah, that's true.
Frank Terry said that he isn't human, but he called himself a man.
Well, a man like me, meaning, because...
He certainly does say man like me, yeah.
He's not like other men.
Right.
Clearly.
Yep.
I think that's key. Pretorius says no. Woman. Friend for you. And as he says that, the soundtrack almost mirrors what he says. We get the very first hint of the Bride theme with the 3-note na na na, which almost sounds like, friend for you.
It always will now for me, at least.
Well, I always hear Bally High still
that's
from
right.
South Pacific.
Right.
So
I like that. I like the way he doesn't talk down to the monster. He's not intimidated by the monster. He says, "No, woman, friend for you." Just like he's talking to anybody else.
Well, and this is Pretorius, so...
Well, I should say not anybody else. He talks to him more as an equal than most people.
Than he does just about anybody else.
Yeah, he wouldn't talk to Minnie like that.
No, and he doesn't, he's not that friendly with Carl or Rudy or even Henry, really. He's much more sinister with Henry.
Yeah.
And I think he realizes basically he's talking to a child.
Right. I agree.
I think he kind of tempers that.
But he doesn't, I don't feel like he's talking down to him, though. He doesn't.
No, he's not. I mean, that's, how if you're smart, that's how you talk to a child, is
Right.
treat them as a person.
Right.
So like my grandson, who's 6 months old at this point, we were just talking about Nietzsche the other day. So.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's got some interesting views.
You never talked to me about that, Nietzsche. So, no, I don't have anything from the Carl Dreadstone, but I did find something in a book by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley called Frankenstein, which
Or the Modern Prometheus.
I didn't read that one. No, I'm just
You didn't read Frankenstein or the Modern... Yeah.
I just read Frankenstein.
Okay, all right, well.
That was a joke before someone, points out.
yeah, we know the difference.
So Shelley says, or the monster is talking to, I always want to say Henry, but Victor Frankenstein. He says, "You must create a female for me with whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being. This alone you can do, and I demand it of you as a right which you must not refuse." That line probably would have been better to talk about in a few weeks. But at one point he says, "Remember that I am thy creature. I ought to be thy Adam."
Mm-hmm.
The creature demands a female companion who must be of the same species and have the same defects. So that's similar in my mind to you make
man
like me, and he touches. I'm doing it. You can't even see it on the Zoom.
pats himself on the chest.
Touches himself on the chest. Yeah. He also says, "Woman, friend, yes, I want friend like me."
Like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very excited by this idea.
Yes.
As well he should be.
Yes. Well, we've seen how his friendships have worked out in the past, and he's clearly made up his mind about the living, I guess.
Humanity. Yeah, we'll find. Yeah, we'll see later. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a very strong opinion.
It's good that Pretorius uses the word friend.
Yeah.
Because the monster we know knows that
He knows
word.
a friend, and he knows friend good.
Yes, friend good.
There's no question
about it.
And then we cut back to Pretorius, and the music shifts back to Pretorius's kind of wonky, Scott McQueen calls the dance macabre. And I think you could be very useful. You could see the wheels turning. The ideas forming in his head that we'll use this guy to our advantage.
Yeah, I noted that too. He says useful and adding force to the argument.
Yeah.
And over the coming weeks, we'll see.
that.
It won't take long before we see both of those things
Yeah,
happen.
right. Yeah. Then he asks him if he knows who Henry Frankenstein is and who you are, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Because it's not an easy question even for us.
No, yeah, I mean,
He's the monster.
Yeah, well, and the answer, of course, is, yes, I know. And this kind of bums the monster out because the way he delivers it is very flat. He's kind of looking down. He lost that joie de vivre as he was thinking about getting a friend made for him, and now he's kind of like, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
dramatic.
kind of introspective almost for as a monster.
Yeah.
He made me from dead. I love dead, hate living. The script has that as I love the dead, hate the living. But I think the way he delivers it in the film is more interesting.
That's interesting
Because it can be read a couple different ways, whereas the script is only you can read it the one way.
Oh, I see what you mean. I hadn't ever thought of it the other way. So hate living as in
I hate being
the
alive.
verb.
Yeah.
I'd never thought about that.
So I don't know if that was
I
a
always
deliberate.
just thought of it as the way it was in the script.
And I think that's how it was probably intended. And I don't know if Karloff or Whale or somebody decided to get the article out of it, and if it was even their intention to give it an extra layer or not. I always think by saying I love dead, hate living, he could be referring to a noun or a verb.
I like it because it can't escape you that at least the living part. I've always thought it was an odd way to refer to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I hate living. You can't help but think that notice that.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
It's because what I had scribbled down was that basically all of this is in the script. So that's interesting that you found a difference, because even your Y's in your generation,
Yeah,
which is
everything-
the kind of thing you might think might have come up on the set.
Just sort of an ad lib, or
Yeah.
No, it's there. It's
it was all written down.
there. And Edgermont has Pretorius becoming depressed when the monster says, "I love dead, hate living," which I don't understand at all why he would.
This is great.
stress
I
that
didn't
out.
look at the novelizations this time, and you
see,
did.
I'm glad I did. I wasn't going to. I thought, well, he'll probably cover all of this, but I
Yep.
guess I'm glad I did.
In the 1936 Yeah, no, I didn't. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
'cause
1936.
you don't get that from Pretorius.
Not at all.
To be honest, you don't ever get that much fluctuation from Pretorius in this movie.
No.
He goes from scheming to
Scheming to
about to die. I think that's
basically,
the
I guess
range.
there you go.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he would become depressed by this.
No, I don't get that
Because it seems
at
like
all.
it's something
It
right
makes
up
no
his
sense.
alley. This is totally in his wheelhouse.
Exactly.
As we've seen through the rest of the film.
And by his response. What
Yeah.
does "you're wise in your generation" mean?
Yeah,
you're wise in your generation. It would seem to me that line means he agrees
Yeah,
with him,
absolutely.
obviously.
Yeah.
In fact, intensely. You
Yeah.
have to think it's wise.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't say that.
Yeah. I mean, unless he's being...
It's also notable to me that you said he's like a child, because he does say "in your generation."
Yeah.
And I don't know for sure
I'm
what
not
that
exactly
means.
sure what I've never quite understood exactly what it means. I just think he's like,
Yeah.
for who you are, that was pretty astute, is
Yeah.
I think what he's kind of driving at.
Yeah, that's the way I take it.
Yeah.
Also interesting because Pretorius is living. But what we know about Pretorius, he intends to overrun the earth
Yeah,
with an
with
army
a-
of the dead.
Yeah,
You know.
basically. This is his
So-
Plan 9, essentially.
Was that the plan?
Yeah, it
I
was
can't remember what Plan 9 was.
They revive the dead to march on the capitals of the world, and they get as far as reviving an old man, a big fat guy, and Vampira. It's perfect. I don't see a flaw in this plan at all.
Hey, not bad though.
yeah,
I mean,
it's better than I've
Plan-
gotten. It's farther than I've ever been
Exactly.
able to get.
Well, you should have seen Plan 8.
Oh,
That
yeah.
did not
Oh,
go.
that was-
Actually, they do have that, don't they? Or did they
I think
not?
somebody's made, since then. There's been a Plan
okay.
8 and a
Plan 10.
10, and yeah. I don't consider them
so-
canon, though.
in the
In
Edward
the Edward universe, or Edward
cinematic
omniverse.
universe?
Yeah.
Does everything in the Ed Wood films take place in the Ed Wood cinematic universe?
I think sort of. I think like Plan 9 and Night of the Ghouls kind of do, and that's about as far as it gets.
We
And that's
talked a
even
little bit about
loose.
some Ed Wood films in one of our bonus episodes
Yeah.
recently.
Yep.
They apparently they get pretty out there by the end.
Oh,
I've never
well.
seen the ones you've seen.
Well, no one really should have to go through that.
I'm not asking. by
I'm
the
willing
way.
to take the hit for the team on that one. You're
Yeah,
talking about
thank
his
you.
like his hardcore stuff is what you're talking. Yeah, it's.
I'm not even, in a hurry to see the softcore
no,
stuff.
you really shouldn't be, because
To be honest, I'm not in a hurry to watch any of it.
heavy
I
emphasis.
do like Bride of the Monster. It's fun to watch.
Oh, Bride of the
But
Monster
even
is
Plan
great.
9, I find to be a bit of a chore.
Oh, do you really? Because I love it. I could watch it
Really?
over and over again.
Maybe I should watch it again. It's been a long time.
We should do a commentary, bonus
There you go.
episode.
Well, you've met someone from that movie, right? Or is she not in that
No,
one?
she's not in that one. She was in Bride of the Monster.
Oh, and
and
Glenn or Glenda.
Yeah, that's Dolores Fuller.
Yep.
So there it is.
So then he says they're going to have a long talk. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting to think about what they're going
What
to
exactly
talk about.
they talked about? Yeah.
Yeah,
would've-
because in the coming weeks we are going to see they clearly have a kind of a plan.
They've hatched a plan. Yeah.
They've hatched a plan.
And
yeah.
I think, I think Pretorius did 99% of the hatching and
And the planning.
the planning, and the monster just sort of, yeah, that sounds good.
And I guess we'll have to see how that works out.
How well
These
that-
guys do seem to have an immediate rapport.
Well, they both like hanging out in graveyards, so I think they've got that common bond.
It's funny, I just looked up and saw that picture that Doc Ivan did of us, where you're Pretorius
Oh.
and I'm the monster.
Oh, right.
So there you go. Just like our podcast.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Another thing he says is he has an important call to make, which
We'll find.
of
We'll
course
know exactly.
doesn't mean a
Yeah.
call in the sense
No.
we mean it.
Not a phone call.
Not a phone call.
They didn't
You
use
gotta
his
go
electrical
someplace.
machine yet.
Even though this movie has a phone in it, yes, that's not what he means.
Then it ends with the bride music sort of comes up softly in the background as the monster is actually cradling the skull of Madalena Ernestine, and that's where the minute ends. At this point, it goes on further, but it's kind of a nice image of just him almost lovingly holding this thing.
Well, and I can't help but evoke Hamlet, right?
Yeah.
Although,
It's a last poor.
I guess I don't really see the comparison beyond.
Not really, just the visual. So, alas, poor Boris.
There you go. Because he's not. Hamlet obviously is remembering Yorick and talking about him. Whereas
I don't think the monster has any contact with Madalena prior to this, so I don't think there's any sort of bond other than this is going.
Well, he even thought it was a man when he picked it up.
Yeah. So now, the only significance is this is going to be my friend, my bride, my wife.
Don't spoilers.
Well, it's the name of the film, so I'm not really I'm not spoiling a whole.
No,
lot.
I mean, he doesn't say.
No, he
that
doesn't
yet.
say that here.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Minute 51. Merry Christmas.
Another grand minute.
Yes, it is. Well, this one will get.
I think I said last week that last week was probably my favorite minute, and this one isn't much of a step down.
No,
it's just
this whole sequence is great. I just this whole scene, the set is fantastic. It's lit beautifully. The acting, the music. Well, and it's where everything sort of comes together in the story. We've had these strands that you've referenced a few times that run throughout, and now it's everybody coming together, pretty much.
And it'll come even further together
next week.
Next week on Frankenstein Minute.
Frankenstein Minute is brought to you by Patreon.
Visit patreon.com/Frankenstein Minute for bonus episodes, including an episode with Dave Barsky and Jeff Elston.
That's right, which dropped a few weeks back.
Came out a few weeks ago.
But it's a good one. And I enjoyed listening to it again because it had been almost a year since we had recorded it, and it was fun to revisit that.
Yeah, if you want to see or if you want to hear an episode that was a triumph of editing. I mean, it just took
that must have taken
forever to figure out how to piece that together.
Yeah, well, my hat's off to you, especially since I didn't have to do it this time. So.
Well, we're still recording. It's kind of weird, but I'm not jealous of your having to edit these things. Editing a podcast is brutal.
It can be, and especially now that we're doing them via Zoom and we have the 2 tracks.
Right. I suppose so. Is that the end?
I think it's the end.
Is the music playing?
It is.
Christmas Day is in our grasp, so long as we have hands to clasp. Christmas Day will always be just as long as we have we. Welcome Christmas while we stand, heart to heart and hand in hand.
Belong dead. Deck high.